I'm recording, by the way. Just so I'm going to put this on YouTube so we can follow it through. So the idea today is, I think, on the whole, you're all pretty good now at solving your equations using algebra tiles. All right? You're now... Stop then, Sienna, pay attention. All right? So you're pretty good at knowing and realising when you're doing things that can't be done. And it's good because you've got the visuals of the algebra tiles to think, no, I can't do that, or I can do that. Now, what we now need to do, though, is transfer this into if we just have pen and paper in front of us. What if we don't have our algebra tiles? All right? So we're going to look at having an equation like this. 3x's plus 5 has the same value as 2x's plus 9. All right? So to start with, what we'll do is we'll solve it on algebra tiles and go through the process. But then what I want to do is go through with you how to write this down. Now, what I want to say is there will be some of you that will resist me when I say, please write down all your steps. I want you to realise now, I will insist that you restart every time you do not write down everything, because what we're doing is we're learning a process that will help you as things get harder. If you go, yeah, I can do that, I'm just not going to bother doing what Mr. Potts says, when it suddenly gets a bit harder and you have to rely on your own skills, if you haven't been practicing those skills, you won't be able to solve the harder questions. Okay? All right? So I want you to stick with it and follow a process of writing down what you're doing. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And it's not going to be much different to what you're doing on the computer, to be honest. Right, so are we all on our algebra tiles? Okay, I started writing down. So I've got 3x's and 2x's. So Sienna, just leave it. If it's not working, put it to one side, we'll sort it. But you can at least pay attention here. All right? So what do I need on this side? 3x's and 5 ones. Okay, 1, 2. And what do I need on the other side? 9. Right, so I'm going to put my equal sign in the middle. So hopefully you'll recognise that as what we've got on our screen. Okay. So you all got that now? Yeah. And have you all managed to solve it? Tell me what to do. I know Sam's done it. You've done it? Yeah. All right, go for it. What would you like to do first to solve it? So we need some negative blocks. 5 what, though? Negative. I've got negative x's, negative 1s, negative x. Negative 1s. Okay. So I'm going to choose to do 5 of them. What is your reason for doing that, Mark? Well, that's what I have to do. Well, it was still equal, but why did you choose to do the negative 1s first? I'm not saying you're wrong, by any means. I'm just asking, why did you choose to do it? No? I never told you to do that. It's one option. Okay. Sam, is that what you would have done first? What was your reason?
Actually, no, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that. But what did you do first?
I subtracted what I got 2 negative x's on each side.
So you took away the x's instead, yeah? Okay. Which again, that's absolutely fine, but Marley chose to subtract the 1s. Okay. I would actually agree. I'd go with the 5 1s because I want to get left with what 1x is. So my initial thought is, let's get rid of everything that's not an x as far as I can. Now, it doesn't mean that has to be the way, but I've gone with that. And I'm why don't I subtract 9 from this side?
Because then it wouldn't be equal.
Well, I could subtract 9 from both sides, though. Why wouldn't I subtract 9 from both sides? No.
Because
Because there's not enough on the left side.
And what would I end up with?
Negative.
Negative. So I kind of want to avoid messing it up. Not messing it up as in making it wrong, but making it messy with negatives and things. So if I can avoid negatives, that's always nice. So I'm only going to subtract the 5, and I can do that to the other side as well, can't I? All right. And then what does that do? Cancels out. So I'm left with, what would my new equation be? Luke?
Your new equation would be 5x's.
Oh no.
3x.
3x's.
3x's equal to 2x's and
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it.
Well, that's close enough, isn't it? I think. Eden, do you want to improve on it a little bit?
Yeah, 3x's equals 2x's plus 4.
Do you know what I really like that both of you've just said? The way that you're saying 3x's and not 3x. Because you're now telling me what's there and not what the numbers are. Yeah, you're actually saying there are 3x's, and that's really good. Right, I like that. So what would be my next stage? Cancel out x's. How many would you like to cancel out? 2. So I'm going to cancel 2x's. I'm going to focus on this side first. Okay, take my 2x's and do the same to the other side. Come on, I'll keep pressing the wrong button. And then they cancel out, don't they? And what am I left with? Okay, you're all good with that, right?
Yeah.
So, this is what I want to do. I want to transfer that because I think you're all good at that. We can move on. Now we want to write this down. So I'm going to go back all the way to my starting point. All right, going through everything that I've done. Okay. All right. So, what I want to do is solve this on paper. So 3x's plus 5 is equal to 2x's plus 9. But I want to show all my working. That's what it says there. Show each step of my working. What do you think the show each step of my working means? Alistair, what do you think that would mean? Yeah. And what have we done? What was each step? Do you know what the first step we did was? We did, didn't we? So if you think back to my algebra tiles, the first thing I did, I can actually go forwards now, so I don't need to remember. I subtracted 5, didn't I? And I did it to both sides. Now, before I cancelled out, look what it looks like. I've got 3x's. We're all looking at the screen. I can see lots of eyes down. Got 3x's, 5 positive ones. I've also got 5 negative ones. On this side, I've got 2x's, I've got 9 positive ones, and I've got 5 negative ones. Now, what I want you to do, so you're now going to be on your paper, all right? Your first step that we're going to write down is that, all right? So I am going to now write down that my first step would be to have 3x's plus 5, but I'm also going to now add on the minus 5. Scratchy, paper, sticky. There you go. What do I put on the other side? Yep. So that's the stage. So I am actually going to write that down. That's showing my working. Now I can write the result of that. What is the result? Well, the result is what happens when I do the cancellation. All right? So what was the result? The plus 5 and the minus 5 will cancel each other out. So on this side, I'll be left with just just 3x's, yeah? And 3x's equals 2x's plus 4. Okay? Happy? Right. What was my next stage then? Well, I shifted things around a bit, which we don't need to do. That was just visual. So what was the next thing we then did? Nick? So what did I do? Yeah, so I can, remember we subtracted 2x's, yeah? From both sides. So again, I'm going to write that down. Now, on my paper, what does that look like? Well, on this side, I can write, I have 3x's and I'm going to subtract 2x's. On this side, I'm going to write 2x's. I'm going to break this apart a little bit because you know you can see with the algebra tiles. 2x's subtract 2x's, but I've still got my add 4. And what would be the result of doing that? Yeah. So we did that, didn't we? It's not letting me go any further, but we cancelled those out, and we end up with x equals 4. And there is my solution. All right. What do you notice about how I've written it on the screen? On my paper?
You didn't write it across, you did it like...
Good. Do you know what? I didn't think that would be the first thing you noticed, but do you notice for each time there's only one equal sign, equals, you know? I'm keeping it one side equals the other side. And then I'm moving down to the line. I'm writing, this does equal that. I have not lied at any stage in my writing. It always, left-hand side equals the right-hand side, always, yeah? Now, what I sometimes see is I see all of this get written in one long line with lots of equal signs. All right? And people lie, not intentionally, but they write things that are not equals, and they just keep writing equals. Now, I want you to really focus on what does that equal sign mean. It means that side equals that side. And you're only allowed to write an equal sign between things if they are equal. All right? So it's nicely laid out. I've shown each step of my working. Now, it's up to you. If you are one of those people that likes to write in different colours or highlight, you could highlight the thing that you did. So there's my working, so you can see. Up to you. Don't let it be the be-all and end-all of what you're doing. Don't, you know, if it takes you 15 minutes to choose a colour, let's not worry about it. Let's just do it. We'll step in if we think it takes too long. But if you want to show what the actual working is, then do it. But you will notice as well that I've not skipped anything. You notice I have written what is the result. I haven't written that and then gone straight to this line and written it again. That's only at the moment. As you get better and more confident, you will find alternate ways of writing it down to be quicker and more efficient with your time, but only when you are really certain that you know how to do anything. Do it all in every situation will we start cutting down the process. Does that make sense? So at the moment, stick with me and always write down everything you did. That will also help your understanding. Make sense? Any questions? Good. Can I remind you that we are on practice 5. Practice 5. Page 163. Good. So you can have a look. We were doing question 1 and question 2. All right. But there's also question 3 if you get to that stage. But I'm really going to be looking at some really good written solutions. That is the focus for today. You can all do algebra tiles now really well. I'm looking at some really nice written ones. If you feel you do not need the algebra tiles, fine, try it without, but do it once and then let us know, and then we'll go, yeah, that looks good. If you still would like the algebra tiles so you can visualize it, go with that. Okay? Let us know if you need any help. Don't.